to start dealing with a pioneer, a very distinguished literary figure, Thomas Stearns Eliot, or T.S. Eliot. Who is he? What we know about him? Okay, you can ask many questions. The answer can be one at the beginning. Then this one can be stretched into parts that it can fill a book. T.S. Eliot or Thomas Stearns Eliot, as you said, he is an American-born and British national. Okay, so let's say personally, we don't care about the person as a person, but we care about the mind of the person, the philosophy of the person, the production of the person. Who is he as a literary figure? We can share the ideas that T.S. Eliot is a poet, and not only a poet, a great poet. Even if some people they say no, again, it is just a point of view. He is a dramatist also, a dramatist or a playwright. And now, if we have a person with these two qualities, okay, a poet and a dramatist, as one of you said, I think Abdurrahman or maybe Abdurrahman, he said, or Abdullah, that he is a poet dramatist. He's or he was interested in poetic drama. Why in poetic drama? Because he's a poet and a dramatist or a playwright. Is Eliot a dramatist and a poet only? No. He's a critic. He's a philosopher. He's a good writer. And he is an inventor in literature, in social elements of life. Like, what are we going to study? Okay? So, in short, we can see that T.S. Eliot is a book, a literary book. Someone can say a literary figure as a person, but I prefer to say that he is a literary book or books. Books can be written about what his mind, his thoughts, his ideas, his philosophy. Either to agree or not to agree, that's not a matter. The matter is what we get of benefit or of benefits that we can understand. So, in our study for this session, we should deviate from what the simple, the ordinary, the natural way of dealing with Eliot's The Wasteland as a poem. Critically, we should go climbing a mountain, not going down the valley, the easy. No, we need to what? Critically think, critically go up, ascending our ideas to deal with what? With a poem. And this poem is what is a play. The Wasteland is a poem. All people say that it is a poem. Yes. All people say that it is a poem. But what about us? What about those, what we call gentlemen here on this session? Eliot is a poet dramatist, and his plays, they are poetic. Because what? Because he is a poet. In this case, poetic drama, verse drama, cannot be achieved, cannot be written, cannot be get success unless the poet, the dramatist is a poet. So at the same time, he is a dramatist, and he is what before that he is a poet, that he can write poetry in order to meet his dialogue, poetic. But already he has written The Wasteland as a poem, long poem, hundreds of lines, 300 or 400, we can check. Okay, so what we need to understand before going deeper to analyze the Wasteland, get or configure the elements of the Wasteland, we should realize something necessary about what we do in our life and in our study. What we are studying literature. How can we make this literature perfect? Through understanding that literature and philosophy are the soul of life. Do we agree? Yes. Do you agree? Maybe no, maybe not. Again, it is not a matter of difference. Okay, some people they don't believe in that, but doesn't matter. We can say that yes, literature is a mirror of life. So it is with philosophy, and we combine the soul of life. Look to the Holy Quran, what you find, the best of saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is the guide in a book. The guide people, to enjoy, to learn, to understand and to get benefit of the past, to control the present, and also to open a gate for future. I can say the same concerning literature, and the greatest part of literature, the greatest genre of literature is what is poetry. Now, we have a poet, Eliot, T.S. Eliot, with a poem. But what can we say? How can we change this poem into a play? Let's discuss some passages, some pages today to understand this idea. I'd like you to be attentive, realizing, understanding what I say, what we share in reading. Then, if you have a question, if you have a comment, kindly write it on a piece of paper after we finish the passage of reading here, analysis, then we can discuss it. Let's start. The Wasteland is one of the most domineering poetic works of T.S. Eliot. Definite. In one of his critical essays, again, so he is an essayist. We said that he is a critical essayist. Okay, he has many theories, and these theories in social life, in literature, are great. Okay, in philosophy also, Eliot believes in the idea that the best way to make poetry popular is the theater. How can we make poetry famous, more famous? Through the theater. So again, we can say that it is a theory for Eliot. Do we believe in it? Someone can say poetry is very much popular. It doesn't need theater. Okay, it's a point of view. But if you are a poet, you believe in people listening to poetry. How many people listen and enjoy poetry of you, the poet, the specific poet? For Eliot, he compares how many people listen, enjoy dealing with poetry, and how many people watch or go as spectators or audiences watching a drama, a play, a tragedy or a comedy or whatever, more than those who are dealing with poetry. So from this case, he wanted to increase the popularity of poetry through theater. So here it is a theory, an ambition, as one of you said. This is one point. The second point, he supports the idea that drama should have an elevated poetic style. So the opposite way now? If I need to make poetry popular, famous, widespread, I have to use the theater. Okay, what about the opposite? Drama should be, a way to elevate, the poetic style. Thus, it is understood we can grasp a meaning that dramas of Eliot are poetic. And we mentioned that at the beginning, that because he is a poet and a dramatist at the same time, he can write plays and these plays can be easily what poetic, since he's a poet. In the same way, the poetry of Eliot might have elements of drama. So this is in general. Now we are focused on what? On one poem. Why we call it a play? Why we want to call it a play? Because it is somehow long in its what? In its composing. It is divided into segments, fragments, that these fragments can be expressed as scenes or acts or connected with what? With drama. For such a case, we can say that the Wasteland comprises elements very much comparable to be called a play. So again, it is a theory created by the writer. A play or a poetic drama at least. If not a play, it can be a poetic drama, since it is what it is. It is poetry. It is a poem. The Wasteland is composed of 5 fragments. In our study, we need to change these fragments into acts. Okay? The Wasteland might work as acts of the plays because they are fragments and also they are 5. And you know that the plays, especially the Renaissance plays, the 17th century plays, they are composed of what? Of 5 acts. It can be like that. Again, it is what? Just a suggestion or a theory. This theory can be what? Can be logical. And it is being done here. What we have? The fragments, the 5 sections, the 5 acts, let's say, they are titled. They are titled as the first one, Burial of the Dead. Second one is Game of Chess. The third one is the Fire Sermon. Next is the Death by Water. And the last one is What the Thunder Said. Okay, here is what we call an introduction. And again, the preface to the introduction. We get some more ideas here. We have Eliot placed his reliance on language, yes. As a philosopher, as a poet, as the philosopher needs the language. As a poet needs the language, because a poem cannot be said without words. Do you remember Samuel Taylor Coleridge in his definition for poetry, when he compared between prose and drama? What he said? He said that prose is words in the best order, like, for example, grammar. But poetry is the best word in the best order. Here we have something extra. We have an advantage, okay, of poetry over prose. And both of them, they need what they are used through language. Reliance on language as a public appeal, okay, public appeal to attract in dramatic poetry. Why again? Why we use it? It is crucial. The language is crucial to influence communication and interaction, to or in order to enforce artistic appreciation. If we need to get a result with appreciation, with satisfaction, with recognition, and this appreciation is literally, okay, connected with art or arts or literature, it should be through language. Definitely. So it is we believe in that. The Wasteland, or the images of the Wasteland. What can we say about that? Images, sounds, and dramatic scenes. Now, when we say dramatic, it means that there are elements of drama. Sounds means speech, and its injunctions is first of all an experience. All these areas are knowledge, experience of the writer, and again of the listeners, readers like you. What we need to know more is this point of view, this point. Eliot confirms that it is the role of art, and I can say that it is literature, to contribute awareness of an appreciation in life. Yeah, awareness of an appreciation in life. At the beginning, I wanted to say that T.S. Eliot contributed a lot to the English literature in the modern or in the 20th century. He's a great influencer of literature, especially English literature. Okay, so here is our role now. We go to the role again to contribute, okay, awareness of an appreciation or recognition in life by enforcing such appreciation upon it. Upon it, what is it? Upon the language, the usage, the best usage of the language. Eliot believes that there is an unconventional feelings beyond the emotions and intentions, okay, of the sensible life. Not any life with a sort of sense. When targeted on the way to action, again, in life there should be action. When you write just a poem is a story. But when you write a poem, generally the poem is a story, but this story has no action. If it deals with deep meaning, if it deals with music, no problem. But to have action, we have to go through understanding that, okay, action is an element in drama. Okay, since drama or a play is a mirror of life, so action is part of drama. Also, we can say that he adds, and these are the paraphrase of what Eliot might said, we can only deduct out of the corner of the eyes, again, corner of the eyes, look to the beauty of what of saying, and can never completely focus, okay, of the feeling of which we are only aware in a kind of temporary detachment from action. No, action should be there. Action is part of people. Without action, no life. You're sitting, calm, stern, tranquil, in a tranquil way, without moving, without action, there is no life. After the session, you have to move. Moving is an action. Okay, here, there, doing this, doing that is an action. So action is what is life. But now we speak about that as a phase, a component, an element of drama, like what we need to achieve through understanding of the Wasteland. But now all these elements here are what can be peculiar, can be strange, and he believes in that. Such a peculiar series of feelings and sensibility might be purified by what? By dramatic verse, by poetry, and this poetry has the elements of drama. When at its moments of greatest intensity, the greatest part or intensity, okay, yeah, it is felt through what? Through poetry in drama. Okay. Say again, the influences that formed Eliot's poetry might be taken into consideration in arguing. Yeah, arguing means, yes, there is a sort of what we call debate, convincing, persuasion about the development of what we call dramatic technique. Do we find dramatic techniques, elements, components in the Wasteland? Oh, we can. Okay, so it is what? Changing the idea of it is what? It is a poem. It can be a play, a drama, a drama. One of the chief themes in his poetry, as well as in his plays, is the topic of isolation. Yeah, we know isolation, and we read about it a lot in this poem and in his drama also, which is sensed or felt by a soul in loneliness. Such a theme of isolation, of a man in the multifarious and richful contemporary civilization is difficult for contemporary poets. In a sophisticated society, not complicated. We take it as the positive meaning. Okay, suffering from isolation is articulated in guard silence. It is substantial or essential or important that by the kind of employment of the theme, the Wasteland, Eliot flourishes his energies to afford to provide you, me, all the spectators, more than a dramatic issue to appreciation. Not only just bringing a level of drama to poetry, more than that is expected, even through the concept of isolation. Say again, the main theme in Eliot's plays is the theme of isolation. We can find it in different plays, like the cocktail party, the family reunion, murder in the cathedral, the elder statesman, the confidential clerk. All these plays, we can find isolations in the heroes, in the protagonists. There is a sense of isolation in them. Have you read them? If yes, okay, you can realize that. If not, please read and get what concept of what isolation, what are the plays of. And also, in poems, they are there. In order to give expression to the inner conflict, again, if we have conflict here, conflict is action, that's higher. If we have inner conflict, so it is what? An element of drama, which is expressed neither in words nor in action. Sometimes the inner, it means what? Hidden or connotative or implicit, not explicit. It is like that, showing what? Showing conflict. The Wasteland is a conflicting poem. How can we say that there is an inner conflict in it? Through the characters. The speaking of what? Of the characters in it. In order to give expression to the inner conflict, which is expressed neither in words nor in action, have the dramatist to use simple suggestions. Okay, yeah, accepted. This is a method that he has tried with his success in the poem like the Wasteland. In fact, it is not the poet endeavor to try doing that. It is the speaker, it is the writer, it is what? The researcher to prove that. We can add that throughout his literary life, Eliot worked persistently to make progress and revive the association of drama with poetry. So very interesting when to say association. Association means making two things one. You remember when we spoke about the philosophy of persuasion, the philosophy of logic, okay? How we can make something appearing illogical to be logic. 1 + 1 = 1, you remember. 1 + 1 = 3, you remember. So associating two elements, making them one. Associating drama and poetry to create one component. What is it? Poetic drama or verse drama. Here's the try. The verse of Eliot makes great use of dramatic origins, and they are copious. Yes, a lot, plenty. The essentially dramatic nature of Eliot's early verse has been sufficiently demonstrated in the criticism of Leaves, Fr. Leaves, and others, and many other critics. It is necessary here to recall the dramatic quality. Dramatic quality means the element of drama. May be seen in three important elements. First is the attention of dramatic rather than prose structure. Yes, when we speak about drama, we don't think about just prose. If we say that prose can be what can be narration, can be storytelling, without what? Without the elements of drama. What are these elements of drama? Some of them, like what? Like dialogue or conversation, like action, okay, space and time, place and space and time, elements of drama. There should be what? Touched. There should be touched in what? In this. Let's say not a poem in this piece of literature, piece of poetry, poetic drama. The interpretation of Eliot's on the quality of drama, the methods, the language, and the standards demonstrate how progressively Eliot moves to poetic drama after an experimental long period of practicing the dramatic quality in poetry during the 20s and 30s of the 20th century, in which the Wasteland is a sample of his poetry. If we stop a minute or a second here within this sentence, we can say that there are what you call theorists or critics interested in this intellectual literary figure or literary mind or literary book, T.S. Eliot. They divided his life into three parts. Okay, the first part, the second part, and the third part. The first part is connected with poetry more than drama. In the second one, the second period dealing with both of them, in which he started practicing the quality of drama more in his poetry. That we can find elements of drama in his poetry. Then, in the last phase, okay, in the 60s, for example, 50s and 60s, in which where he produced the plays. He started writing, I remember, more than the Cathedral, after that, the Family Reunion, in the 30s, and for a long time experiencing what we call elements of drama, components of drama, how to create, to make, to produce successful drama, but this drama is poetic. To hunt two birds in one stone, both of them, poetry and drama, in one component, in one story, poetic drama. Eliot stressed the usefulness of theatre as an instrument. Why? To appeal or for appealing, appeal for the majority of people. As we mentioned, that the theatre, okay, is a place for gathering a huge number of people in comparison with poetry alone. But to me, the element of both, this is something interesting, but amazing. Eliot believes that drama in verse is a center of culture and proper rehabilitation. A philosophy by Eliot. It is a philosophy by him. We agree with that. Even if some didn't agree, but personally, I believe that it is what accepted. Now we can go deeper, coming closer to the drama elements or elements of drama. One of the most central factors in a drama, in a play, in making a play, is the system of dialogism, the dialogue, the conversation, the chatting, that empowers the author to reveal, to discover, to show, to present different voices, humming similar themes with many, faced characters in this work, in this drama. The poet's unique creation with its play, sound, rhythm, individual words, like speech, like listening, asking, speaking, with its denotation, and the most one is connotation, created figures and landscapes, dramatic dialogues, central voice. Why are all these? Okay. The purpose is intended to retain an ultimate certainty. About what? About Trump. By stating the certainty which is created among people, putting in mind the importance of blending diverse arguments on similar themes. Again, philosophical elements, dialogue, conversation, speak. Elements of what? Of drama. Elements of drama. What are they available on the Wasteland? Here what we need to discover. So, dialogue is the main standard in drama that enables the writer to generate a conversational free character. Okay? You can see controlled character, but for Eliot, okay? You can see controlled character, but for Eliot it is what? Free, to speak naturally, not to be restricted to what specific words or terminology the character or the speaker should speak. No, to feel that he speaks naturally, he or she, which is estimated as an intention of the author. Again, all the philosophical elements, wisdom of the speech is what is an intention of the author. Yeah, definitely we believe in that. Dramatic poetry also sit within the oral tradition, presents dialogue between characters. So this is what we call, it is an idea supported our point of view by, okay, Morag. So this is what a quotation by him to support our point. No one denies that the Wasteland, okay, the works of 433 lines, look how many? A book, yeah, 453 lines. It can be like an epic. It's confusing as a characteristic mark of modernism, yes. If we speak about the themes, about its themes, yeah, dealing with modernism. But we don't care now about modernism, about the West itself, the West of the West, as Eliot means. No, we need to deviate to the beauty of making the Wasteland a play. In the Wasteland, the first person I, here is what we call characters, is the speaker, and he is a character or element of drama as a recounter representing the author's voice. It replaces the marginality that frequent voices noticeably fill an emptiness that is left by missing all. Again, here is what we call a quotation. It is a quotation. A close reading of the Wasteland will show that T.S. Eliot, okay, deeply, profoundly, okay, expects a fundamental cluster of concepts taken, okay, for much of the later part of the 20th century to be postmodern, as you mentioned at the beginning about, okay, existentialism and postmodernism or modernism. Yeah, that Eliot's work contains a play of dramatic voices has long been well understood. Yeah, well understood, it can be what somehow clear, powerful. It assembles the presence of uprising tone, a suicidal mission, descriptions, and dramatic language. Again, we should not forget the greatness of what the importance, great importance of what of the language. And what kind of language? Literary and poetic, dramatic, literary and poetic. So in the Wasteland, there are several voices. Again, voices here are characters, elements of drama that articulate the speaker. I, like speaker I. They may speak out, okay, the breathing characters as surface witnesses' voices or deep, okay, predictive voices. What can we say? Like any play, any drama, we find that there are, okay, great characters. And also, we can find, okay, just surface or shallow characters, okay, less important characters. I can't say that all characters are important, but there are characters are more important than others. This is the division between characters. Some of them, like the hero or the protagonist, has a great job higher than others, but everyone is doing a great job or a special role, okay, in the success of the work, in the play, in the drama. This work becomes a kind of dramatic lyric. I mean, we speak about what? About the Wasteland. It is a lyric, like a song, because it is a poem, and it is dramatic because it should be. There should be what? Elements of drama, in which the lyric themes are projected by characters associated with the central experience. Yeah, correct. Accepted. The Wasteland is filled with with metaphors, rebounds, and many voices. Metaphors connected with both with drama and poetry more. Rebounds and many voices. Voices speaking about the characters. So they are more dramatic than poetic. The voice speaks in first person theatrically, and they are voices of the third person of different people. Different people means there is communication, there is dialogue being watched from freestanding outside here. People are watching others are chatting, speaking, having a conversation or conversing. In the Wasteland, the dialogue interchanges through seasons, expressing time, and space, expressing place. These are witnesses of the components of the drama according to Plato, if you remember. Okay, going back to the 3 units of Plato about drama. Additionally, the dramatic poem can be a lyrical drama of many voices that in the commencement of Eliot's works, he learned the art of employing persons or personnel from his friend and commentator Ezra Pound. Eliot then developed his own methods of dialogism or dialogue in a new kind of verse, more dramatic than lyric. Here we have a witness of influence that Eliot was influenced by Ezra Pound. And in fact, both of them, the influence is mutual or integrated together. If each one is influencing the other, since they are what they are, literary figures, they are friends and living at the same, but with the same age. Many voices, going back to the Wasteland, are reported with dialogues in this poem or in this piece of literature. Dialogue combines with a dramatic monologue. Monologue, as you know, is different than dialogue. But also there is what we call conversation between what? Between the speaker and himself. So in this case, we can find there is a dialogue, not only monologue. If it is monologue, so monologue can be what can be explained logically. Speaking, talking between the person and himself. Okay, between the one and the self. So there is what 1 + 1 = 1. As one voyaging protagonist journeys through the scenes from all ages and cultures, overhearing music and conversation. This is what we find in the Wasteland. The Wasteland might be a dramatic negotiation between humankind and civilization, a theory created by the speaker or the researcher. That's called Yahya Dahami. So between humankind and civilization, yeah. Why? Civilization, and we have the Wasteland, So it is a great criticism of Eliot on the land, which is waste. For what? Is it, I mean, the waste is the land itself? No, we have to realize something else. As I told you, 1, read, 2, understand, 3, think. Yeah, we have to stand here for what? For thinking. What we mean by the wasteland, not the land itself, which is waste. It is people who make this land waste, and opposite to what? To civilization. So let's say here we have the poem, we can see the play, or the literary work, the piece of literature. The Wasteland shows multi-usages of diagonism. And even here, with the usage of diagonism, we can show elements of drama that allow the poet dramatist, we should not forget that, these two elements for Eliot, to improve his plot using implied different narrators to divulge, to discover, to show thoughts, ideas, and themes. Thoughts, ideas, and themes as shown, as seen, as can be available, okay, in a drama. Eliot improved the plot of these acts or fragments, but he shifted from one act to another, has not arranged them with the same sequence as in a plot of drama. There is a deviation, since he moved from a scene to another. Scene, not as in the play, from a situation, let's say, from a situation to another, different situation. Eliot was preoccupied with creating new dramatic aspects of it. Eliot also, to excuse human drama, to show, to present, could move easily in time and space, uniting and merging the past of an epic with the present of a lyric. Look to these, what you call interesting ideas. Moving easily, it means that there is freedom in dealing with the story. Okay, and also playing with the elements of drama, like time and place, the unities of time and place. Okay, so he is what? Uniting and merging. He is making something special. Okay, merging the past of the epic. Since this literary work is long, 433 lines, you remember. With what? With the present lyric, let's say, present lyric. Lyric is a poem. Even singing a poem, yeah, it is what? It is a poem. Originally, it is made as a poem. Act 1. Here there is analysis. I'd like to make reading, understanding about the acts in the next session after you read, analyze, and before analyze, understand, and share your thoughts, okay, of what? Of the Wasteland as a play. What we have mentioned is an introduction. It's just an introduction with some crucial elements of drama. Now, we need to go deeper to realize, understand, present, show what are these elements available in each section, in each fragment, or what we have it, what we call it, what we name it, acts. I think this is enough for this session.